I love it. Thank you, Mark. Before we get to our gathering hymn, I wanted to open with these words by Katie Romano Griffin. Come, let us enter this space of hope and community. Come, let us enter this space with our sorrows, our joys, our passion, and compassion. Come, let us enter this space with the stories of our ancestors, for their strength and wisdom beats in our hearts. Come into this space, present to the beloved companions who move beside us. Come into this space, mindful that together we are building a future for other generations. Come into this space and let us worship. Our gathering hymn this morning is number 1053, How Could Anyone? It's in your teal hymnal. Please stand if you are willing and able. The closing.
That's a closing. Okay, that's what I thought. Oops, sorry. How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Good morning. I'm Ashley Perkins. I am the co-director of Religious Exploration and your worship leader this morning. Today, we have a lot of hands that help make this worship happen. You've seen Mark perform, so he's our musician this morning. Thank you, Mark. Nancy is our tech person in the sanctuary this morning. Thank you, Nancy. And Molly is our tech person in the office this morning, helping get us up on Zoom. So thank you, Molly. We're glad you are here. If you're a guest today and are willing and able, we invite you to tell us who you are, where you're from, so that we may welcome you. Are there any guests that wish to be recognized this morning? No? Okay. Molly, do we have any guests online?
We do not.
For busy hands during today's all ages worship worship service, feel free to use any of our soul work activities. We have fidgets, coloring, origami paper, all sorts of stuff back there near the hymnals. We invite everyone to stay for refreshments following the service as well. Now's our time for church announcements. I'll direct your attention to our website. It's uuevansville.org. And we also have some announcements in the order of service. Does anyone have any other announcements to make here? Please come up to the microphone.
I'm going to reiterate what I said last week. We are going through the process of demolishing Chalice House. So if any committee has stuff over there, make sure you're moving that out. Right now, we're looking at some point in August having a yard sale where we'll be selling off the fridge and the stove and such that are in there, and then looking at sometime in September being the date of the demolishing.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, any other church announcements to make?
Just as a reminder, we are still collecting like toiletries and things for Greater Evansville Youth. Sorry, I'm very tired today.
Molly, are there any announcements online?
Book group on Thursday, but that's it.
Okay, cool. Also, the Pagan Study Group is meeting on Friday at 7 p.m. So that's happening as well. We're going to be discussing llamas. So, all are welcome. All right, we'll go ahead and take a few moments to greet one another, stand up, stretch your legs. Please return to your seats when you hear the chime. Thank you, Mark. All right, now we'll have our chalice lighting. I already have a volunteer picked out, so thank you, Kendall. Our chalice lighting reading this morning is called A True Story by Lee Kinvey. This chalice is for the living, the changing, the becoming. This chalice is for losing the script of your life, the chapters about who you are and other people's stories. This chalice is for the lost GPS that was supposed to show you how to get where they expected you to go. This chalice is for skipping the directions, coloring outside the lines, painting not by number, but by silence, by wild abandon, with a brush you made yourself from light deep inside. Startling, vivid, a new voice that already knows you. Finally, a true story. We will now have our offering. Love is the spirit of this beloved community, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to each other, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. For these purposes, we have united today in worship. If you are a guest, please allow the plate to pass you by, because your presence is a gift. May I have 2 volunteers to pass the plates? Thank you for these gifts and for your presence here today. So now we have one of my favorite times of service is the story time for all ages, and Stephen has our story this morning.
Today's story is called More Than Peach. Rise and shine, sunshine, is my wake-up call. But just for a moment, my eyes cling to last night's dreams, not yet ready to leave them behind. My mornings are filled with smiles and a bump here and there. We rush in the busyness the morning brings. Being with my brothers is sort of like gazing into a mirror. Their faces reflect mine, shades of the world with the same warm and curious eyes. I sigh when I wave goodbye. My brothers' reflections disappear and leave only me. But just one me is more than enough, and I make so much of it. Sometimes we might trip up, but we have friends to catch us. School is a home away from home. And when at home, we learn to grow. Does anyone have the skin color crayon? My friend asked. Some call it the skin color crayon. I've heard it many times before, but this time, when I pass the peach-colored crayon to him, something in me feels different. Can someone pass me the skin-colored crayon? Another friend asks later. The question rings through the room. The question didn't seem to bother my teachers or my friends. Why was I the only one feeling confused? My mom and I celebrate the day. We share lots of stories and giggles. I also tell her about the skin color crayon language. I explain that even though the question puzzles me, I always pass the peach crayon. Well, our skin color is brown, so next time, why not just hand over the brown crayon instead, Mom says. But that doesn't feel right either. I think for a while, and the idea hits me. No, Mom, instead, I'll ask what color they want. I answer, because it can be any number of beautiful colors. And so the next time that question rings out, I reply, which one? Skin can be any number of beautiful colors. Oh yeah, I meant the peach color, my friend says. Suddenly, I realize that if this friend could understand, maybe my other friends could too. Again and again, I get asked the same question. Again and again, I reply the same way, gently, knowingly, trying to change the language. Until I finally hear an echo. My teacher replies just the way I did. Of course, she says, what crayon color would you like? Because skin tones can be any number of beautiful colors. I had been the spark, and now my whole classroom is lit up. It's so important that your space is brilliant, just like you. Soon, the new language rippled through the school. If I can make such a big change here, I can also make it happen at other schools. I put my idea to paper, and my family helps me plan. Growing isn't always easy. Change is a team effort. And the bigger your team, the faster the change happens. I lead the way and ask my friends, school, and whole community for help. All around the world, the language is changing. Minds are growing, and we will keep going until the world knows we're more, much more than peach. We are each. Together, we can show the world the power of kidhood, one crayon at a time. So it is a legitimate, true story. The author, it's her story. I picked it because I had almost the exact same situation happen to me in 1992 in Mrs. Armstrong's class. And my friend Stephen handed me the blue crayon and just looked at me. He was black and I was white. I said skin color, handed me blue and just stared at me. I didn't have the words for yet, but looking back on it, that's exactly what happened in my brain. Like that little bit of just, here's a blue, now what? And I was like, oh, I haven't called it skin colored since that day in Miss Armstrong's class in 92. This was published in 2022, yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. I just kind of teared up while you were reading that. It's very sweet when kids have such an impact on others, and the fact that Stephen also had that exact same experience in school is really cool. So thank you for sharing that. Our opening words this morning, I'm gonna read a couple different things. The first thing I'm going to read is from our Unitarian Universalist Pocket Guide. Also, there's a copy of this on the welcome table out there. We have copies in the office if you want to take one with you as well. But this is from the section on our faith. The section starts with, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. It doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you have broken your vow 1,000 times, come yet again. Come, come." Does anyone know who wrote that? Yeah, it is in the hymnal. Yeah, go ahead, Tom. Yes, thank you. So Unitarian Universalists are especially fond of these words by the Sufi poet and mystic Rumi. His lyrical verse offers a small glimpse of our religious vision, a faith in a world large enough, inclusive enough for everyone. The fact that we, with our Puritan roots, find meaning in the work of a Sufi poet speaks to our openness to, indeed our expectation of, finding truth and wisdom in the words of people from cultures and traditions quite different from those in which we might have grown up. Unitarian Universalism is a non-creedal faith. Rather than a common theology, we are bound by our common history, our affirmation of each person's spiritual quest, and the promises we make to one another about the spiritual values we uphold. Whether you revere God, goddess, nature, the human spirit, or something holy for which you have no name, you are welcome to join us, to study, to worship, to work and be in relationship with people who are all on their own spiritual paths. If you find over time that your personal credo no longer feels adequate to what you see and experience in the world, your community here will companion you through those changes. Your doubts and questions will never jeopardize your belonging. In this faith, which I serve most joyfully, we welcome doubts and questions, and we uphold one another amid all the storms of life. I really like that, so I wanted to share that. So Unitarian Universalist congregations together affirm and promote 7 principles. Some actually promote 8. Did you know that? So, we also share a living tradition of wisdom and spirituality drawn from multiple sources. These principles and sources of the UUA, or the Unitarian Universalist Association, grew out of the grassroots of our communities. They were affirmed democratically and are part of who we are. The Reverend Dr. Rebecca Ann Parker, minister, theologian, and author, wrote this reflection on the first principle. Reverence and respect for human nature is at the core of UU faith. We believe that all the dimensions of our being carry the potential to do good. We celebrate the gifts of being human, our intelligence and capacity for observation and reason, our senses and ability to appreciate beauty, our creativity, our feelings and emotions. We cherish our bodies as well as our souls. We can use our gifts to offer love, to work for justice, to heal injury, to create pleasure for ourselves and others. Just to be is a blessing. Just to live is holy. That was said by Rabbi Abraham Heschel. And Unitarian Universalists affirm the inherent worth and dignity of each person as a given of faith, an unshakable conviction calling us to self-respect and respect for others. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We will now take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our beloved community. We do this by taking a pebble from the clear. May we remember those who have spoken, those they have named, and those we hold silent in our hearts. Our meditation reading this morning is called Let Your Body Tell the Truth by Gretchen Haley. Come now across platforms and practices to declare with joy our resilience. To proclaim on purpose, we have survived the pandemics of our time. We have survived. We are surviving. We have pivoted and we have planned and then replanned and then thrown all plans to the wind. In this circle, we will say without shame, some days we lost our way and our passwords. And we have not always been our best selves. We are learning, and not always quickly, to regroup and remember perfection was never the point. We are here because we long to try again, to promise with people to be partners in this long haul work of loving and becoming, even while we grieve also the cost, which is not small and lingers in our hearts, and turns only sometimes to rage. Here, let your body tell the truth. Shake free the stories that live in your skin. Breathe in your beauty and breathe out your burdens. Breathe in our beauty. Breathe out our burdens. Be here with it all, with all of us. In the moment of this new day, the storm is passing over. The sun is breaking through. This new day dawns for us all. We'll have a moment of silence and then sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
the stirrings of compassion blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
So I thought it might be best to start today's message reiterating what the 7 Unitarian Universalist principles are. It's a mouthful, Unitarian Universalist principles. So we have them posted on the wall, but we kind of glance over them from time to time and we bring them up every once in a while. So this service today was actually brought together from feedback from congregants and our worship committee taking that feedback. And we thought on Sundays where we're not doing anything, why not talk about the principles? So that's why we're starting with the principles. So let's get to it. All right. This is also in the pocket guide. The principles are in here. Oh, and on our cover, order of service. So you can follow along. But we, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. So, for Unitarian Universalists, these principles reflect deeply held values, and they serve as a moral guide. The wisdom and spirituality of these principles are drawn from sources as diverse as science, poetry, religious scripture, and personal experience. So, does following these principles sound easy? Yes, no? It's not easy. In fact, it's meant to challenge us. I hate to break it to you, life is messy. Community is messy. Relationships with ourselves and others is messy. And our faith is a messy one. A number of years ago, I stumbled upon a meme from a social media page. It was for Unitarian Universalists. The meme featured a woman doing, well, I'll just give my best impression, but she's sitting in a chair, she's like slouching, she's like, and the text reads, stepped out of my house this morning and immediately struggled with the first principle. So, which I always thought was funny because some days it's like that. You know, you get driving on the road and somebody might cut you off and you have some thoughts in your head about that maybe. I don't know about you, but that happens to me. Loyola Marymount Professor of Philosophy, Dr. Christopher Kazer, defines human dignity as the idea that all human beings, regardless of class, creed, color, or culture, enjoy the same basic value, deserve fair treatment in public and private, and merit the same basic protection by law. And at its core, human dignity is the idea that every person has intrinsic worth and deserves to be treated with respect and honor. This worth isn't something people earn or achieve, but rather something they inherently possess by existing. The concept transcends cultural, religious, and societal differences. It roots itself in the belief that all people deserve to live in conditions that allow them to thrive. Human dignity goes hand in hand with the idea that each person deserves basic human rights, including the right to freedom, equality, and justice. It's a cornerstone of ethical principles, and it's reflected in declarations like the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this asserts that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. So whether in personal relationships, workplaces, or public spaces, the respect for human dignity fosters an environment where individuals feel valued, feel safe, and feel supported. So how do we ground ourselves in the affirmation that all persons have inherent worth and dignity, and what might our communities look like if we live more fully into this affirmation? The foundation for all justice is that person is inherently worthy and has dignity that ought to be respected by all other people. As the German philosopher Immanuel Kant put it, act in such a way that you treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of another, always at the same time as end and never simply as a means. And he wrote this in Grounding for the Metaphysics of Morals, Section 2. Progress within the human community is based on a growing and ever-deepening understanding of what human dignity means. Everything that has been immoral and unjust in the past, and everything that is immoral and unjust in the present, is predicated on the lie that some people have more dignity and inherent worth than others. Racism, sexism, unjust treatment of persons who have different sexual orientations and gender identities are all perpetuated on the lie that not all persons are of equal worth and dignity. And the only way forward to beloved community is to live fully into the reality that all people have inherent worth. Anything that makes one person feel superior to another person is a serious problem. Far too often, our understandings and expressions of religion are more about cultivating feelings of superiority than they are about embracing the equal worth of all persons and living more fully into beloved community. We see this in other economic and cultural aspects of our lives as well. This is not a call for moral relativism that would make every perspective and action equally moral, but it does mean that none of our differences make us less than others when it comes to our basic human dignity. Does that make sense? Just want to make sure I'm saying, okay. So why is human dignity important? Understanding why human dignity is crucial to a healthy society can help us appreciate the importance of promoting and preserving it. So here are some primary reasons why human dignity matters. Human dignity enhances mutual respect. Recognizing and encouraging us to be with others and treat them with respect, empathy, and understanding. And when we honor another person's dignity, we acknowledge their humanity regardless of their background, beliefs, or status. This helps us move beyond biases and prejudices. It allows us to interact with people based on shared human values. Human dignity promotes social justice and equality. This is like the formation of that, the foundation for social justice and equality. So by recognizing that every individual has the inherent worth, we're more likely to advocate for equal opportunities and fair treatment. This drives movements for social change. It urges societies to dismantle systems of oppression, and it helps us build more inclusive and equitable communities, starting with us. Human dignity supports psychological well-being. Feeling valued and respected is essential for a person's mental and emotional health. When individuals are treated with dignity, they're more likely to feel confident, empowered, and motivated. And on the other hand, when dignity is undermined, it can lead to feelings of worthlessness, isolation, distress. Upholding human dignity is a key element in supporting the well-being of individuals and society as a whole. Human dignity encourages peace and cooperation. When we treat one another as if we have dignity, we create a foundation for a peaceful coexistence and collaboration. This allows us to have constructive dialogue, bridge divides, resolve conflicts in a manner that value everyone's perspectives. This fosters a sense of community. It enables people to work together effectively toward their common goals. So what are we doing as a community to uphold that? Okay. Human dignity protects fundamental human rights. It's the heart of human rights. It provides the moral basis for ensuring that people are not subjected to degrading treatment, discrimination, or oppression. By prioritizing dignity, we're better able to uphold human rights and create societies where individuals can live with freedom, security, and the opportunity to reach their full potential. So how do we promote dignity? This requires intentionality and commitment. So here are some ways we can do that in our everyday lives. We can treat everyone with respect, regardless of their status or background, regardless of what we may assume about someone. This means we could show someone courtesy, avoid harmful language. I mean, even saying please and thank you is nice. It's kind of performative. I don't prefer that method. We can also have empathy, practice active listening. So we can listen to others with an open mind and an empathetic heart. When we validate people's experiences and show them that we value their perspective, they are more likely to be open with us in return. Empathy allows us to connect with others on a deeper level. It makes it easier to understand and respect what our needs are and what their needs are. We can support inclusion. Promoting human dignity means challenging inequalities and advocating for fairness. You may be already doing stuff like this, but this could include standing against discrimination, bullying, or exclusionary practices. So whether you're at work, school, or in this beloved community, we can create spaces where everyone feels valued and included. So one way you can do this, you can support diversity initiatives. You can speak up when you see someone being treated unfairly. You can be proactive in creating environments that do embrace different perspectives, backgrounds, and abilities. Another way we can promote this is to respect autonomy and individuals' choices. This can be kind of hard when you care about someone and you're seeing that they might not be making the choices you would make for your own life. But affirming someone's dignity involves respecting their right to make their own choices. Fun fact. Yeah, this means allowing them to exercise their freedom and support that. Whether in personal relationships or a professional setting, respecting autonomy demonstrates that we value their capacity to have agency over their own lives. We would want the same, right? We can advocate for human rights and fair treatment. To promote this on a broader scale, support efforts to protect fundamental rights and challenge systems that undermine them. I'm not get too deep into this, but try to be supportive of organizations that promote human dignity and uphold your values. You could sign a petition, volunteer, just use your time to benefit others. We can celebrate and honor diversity. I think this is a great one because human dignity thrives in environments where diversity is celebrated and people are free to express their unique identities. This is one reason I really like going down to Pride, because everybody feels like they can be themselves, and that makes me so happy. So by fostering an attitude of curiosity and openness, we can create communities where everyone feels safe and valued. So you could do this by taking time to learn about different cultures. I know the public library sometimes does their foreign film series, which is really cool if you ever experienced that. Sometimes they have food from those cultural places as well. Just look around, pay attention. This not only broadens your understanding, but it also helps you connect with people from all walks of life who maybe you would have never met prior to that. We can encourage self-worth and confidence in others. Part of promoting dignity is helping others feel good about themselves, encouraging people to recognize their strengths, celebrate their accomplishments, and believe in their potential. By affirming their self-worth, you contribute to their sense of dignity, and you empower them to live authentically. So one way to do this is to do something called a lift up. Has anyone ever heard of a lift up? Okay, I'll explain, and then we'll toss this idea around. So a wonderful way that people can help each other feel that they belong. It's kind of like a present, but it's invisible. You'll discover this in just a minute. So now I want you to close your eyes for a second. Join me on a journey. I want you to picture in your mind or think about one particular person you like to be with. Imagine you're with that person right now. What are you doing together? And where are you? And think about why you like to be with this person. How does this person you have chosen make you feel inside? So people who help us to feel good inside give us a lift. We could call that a lift up, which is what I'm calling it. Call it a lift up. Actually, anyone can give a lift up to anyone else if they want to. So let me show you. I'm glad Susan is here because she is just amazingly open-minded and loving and supportive. Or I like Mark because he plays music that's all around. I love it. I love all of it. So, how can you give somebody else a lift up? You don't have to say it right now. You can wait for coffee time if you want. But something I want you to think about doing today, you don't have to do it here at church either. You could do it outside of here. But just share a lift up with somebody, maybe even 2 people. Just see what that does to your insides and maybe see what it does on their outsides. But that's one way we can do that. Human dignity is more than a concept, it's a guiding principle for how we live and interact with others. By valuing the inherent worth of a person, we create a world where respect, empathy, and fairness thrive. Whether through simple acts of kindness, like the lift up, advocating for equality, or celebrating diversity, each of us has the power to promote that in others. And together we can foster a society where people feel valued and empowered to reach their full potential, paving the way for a more compassionate and just world. And Fred Rogers, my dear Fred Rogers, said, "Imagine if we all walked into the world with the belief that each person was inherently worthy. Imagine if our goal was to help each other recognize that we are worthy of being loved. Imagine if we sought to listen more than we spoke." This is why I believe the first principle of Unitarian Universalism is so important. It reminds us first and foremost that the inherent worth and dignity of all persons are the necessary conditions for the expression of love and creation of joy within our own lives, but within this beloved community, and sometimes messy community. The dignity of all persons is the piece that holds together all the other principles that we uphold. I thank you for your time with me this morning. And now I can invite responses. Come up to the microphone, or we can give you a wireless one as well. So.
I would like to do one of my lift ups right here and now. Thank you, Ashley, for inviting me today. I've really been struggling to actually get out of the house and go do things since I started working nights, and I probably would not have been here today if you didn't invite me. So I appreciate that you are very inclusive and you want everybody to be here and enjoy things. So.
I think the place that I struggle with the first principle is with the current political situation. I find it difficult to open myself up to the ideas, they won't clear. The ideas and beliefs that some of these people have that we see currently running the country into the ground. So I struggle with it, and I sat there where Josh is holding my place. It helps me to get where I need to be, which is more open. With all of you, that's just welcoming. That's just normal. So I need to expand normal a little bit.
I almost didn't come today, but I was really excited when I saw on the board that it was First Principles. So my journey here started end of 2019, and we were going through the First Principles. And the worst thing that I ever did was in 2019 during my Christmas break, I binge watched Handmaid's Tale. Never read the book, didn't watch season 1, It's 3 years of the first administration, and I was pulling my hair out. I had more, keeps going. And I was just absolutely depressed. And I couldn't believe what a cesspool, how people could treat and talk about each other the way that they do and what was on the media. And I came here and Jennifer was doing it at the time, did the first principle. And it was just so simple and prophetic. I'd grown up in religion. I wasn't looking for religion, but I was looking for something to make me feel better about people in general. And it starts with the first principle, right? The inherent worth and dignity of every person. And of course, then the pandemic happened. I think we got through 3 principles and everything shut down. But I've been here for 5 years, and I just encourage everybody with all these new faces, kind of keep digging in. The principles are so simple. They're so simple, and it's just a simple, be a decent human being. Be a decent human being to everyone, to everything. And that, my favorite is actually, it's kind of bookended 1 and 7, inherent worth and dignity of everybody, then the interconnected web of everything, right? And just everything else in between just comes together. So if you're new to UU, the principles are simple. I think in general, it promotes just happiness and good well-being amongst all of us. I know everybody's struggling with what's going on in the world because it doesn't jive with how all of us see and feel, but at the heart of it, just be good to each other and be good to ourselves. And thank you so much for bringing back the principles, because this is really, to me, kind of a core thing for UU. That's it.
Well, Ashley said something about saying please and thank you. And I have to say, my parents drilled into me the importance of saying please and thank you to anybody and everybody. So it just kind of comes natural to me without even thinking about it. Like Ken said, recognizing the inherent worth of everyone has been a little bit more of a struggle. But one of the ways I've tried to do lift-ups is to make somebody smile. And if it means making fun of myself with self-deprecating humor, that's fine. I am not very full of myself, so if you hear me laughing or saying something funny, I'm not just trying to be goofy, even though I am goofy, but I'm still probably trying to make somebody smile, because I don't know about the rest of you, but I never smile too much. There's never been a day when I get to the end, I say, oh my goodness, I smiled too much today. So thank you for a great message.
Well, I have 2 things I'll mention. One is I'm sort of spoiling things a little bit, but at the national level, the UUA, they actually replaced the 7 principles with this other system called the 7 values, and there's a flyer for it out on the wall, out in the lobby. I actually prefer the 7 principles anyway. They adopted that. That doesn't mean that every individual congregation has to do so. That's up to us whether we would want to or not. Anyway, just a reminder about that. The other thing is I'm probably going to embarrass Mark a little bit, because I'm going to remind you of what he said that when he was at his son's or grandson's birthday party, and he apparently found himself reacting a little bit to the piercings and the orange hair and things like that. And that is something I really struggle with. I find myself, unfortunately, often rather judgy about superficial choices like that. And that is something I struggle with every day. I'm just too much an old white guy, I guess. And that's not to say that I apologize for my old white guy choices about things. That's legitimate too, but at least I'd like to try to make that extra step to, I don't have to like everything everybody does, but I can at least respect their choices and not judge them as a human being necessarily because of maybe some superficial choices they might make.
those of us of a certain age, please and thank you were pretty much inbred into us. And, I think that was a great thing. I still enjoy opening the car door for a lady companion, and I've always been able to say please and thank you. This next thing kind of falls into, I almost put this into the sorrows category. And then I thought, well, maybe, I'm whipping a dead horse here or whatever. Recently, it's been acknowledged that our president has finally shown some empathy. How pathetic is that? And they've shown the clips of Obama almost in tears and breaking into Amazing Grace and other presidents. And to think that this human being is finally being acknowledged for one time showing some empathy. It's just, it baffles me. But I will share this with you. When I was a young man, and despite having 3 sisters, women, and trying to get a woman to somehow like me, totally befuddled me. And I read this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And there was a section in there, it was actually directed towards trying to make sales. And it was trying to get other people to talk and ask them questions about themselves. So I applied that technique for a while, hoping some girl would just fall in love with me. And then after a while, it wasn't a technique. I began to learn as I asked people questions about themselves, how interesting the stories of each human being is. And I went past that point of just trying to maybe manipulate some girl into liking me to finding out how interesting all people are. And I'm one of those people that feel comfortable lifting people up. David's one of those people that I enjoy being around. He makes me feel good whenever I come into his sphere and talk to him and stuff. But I try to share that with all the other people that I enjoy and like, and Toby's music and your music, and there are so many people that lift me up and give me joy, and just to experience other human beings and acknowledge how they have something in their inner soul and spirit that makes them wonderful and makes me feel good just to see that and experience it and be around it. And then to maybe say that back to them and share it a little bit, that they make me feel good. So, share with others, lift them up.
Good morning, everybody. I also want to thank Ashley for leading us into the principles. I've been, since 2016, thinking about how we really embody these things in our lives. And one of the things I've noticed, I think I've shared with the group, that I work with someone who has political views adamantly opposed to mine, like about as far as you can get. And our office is about as big as maybe the first 2 rows. So I am like with this woman all day long, just the 2 of us. And one thing I decided when I realized that, because I made the jokes like, I thought, I want to get along with this woman, and I choose to believe that she just doesn't know. She lives in a media bubble. If I lived in that bubble, I would think exactly like her, which had me hold my own bubble more lightly. And the other thing, did anybody have a mom or dad that said, by the inch, or maybe a grandma, by the inch, it's a cinch? And by the yard, it's hard? Yes. Put up your hands if you heard that. It occurs to me that it's easy to be overwhelmed, but when I talk with her, I choose to believe that she is more than she is sharing with me. The other thing my grandma said, or stepmother, if they knew better, they would do better. So when I sit with her, it's not with the thought that she is going to change her views because she spent time with me. But that she is going to have a good relationship with someone with whom she knows we share diametrically opposed things. And I think if we look at it, so overwhelming, but person by person by person, it's much easier to do. And I do that for me, and not because I expect anything out of her. I do it because it makes my life better. Thanks.
Molly, do we have any comments online?
Not today, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, now for our closing hymn. It's number 128 in the gray hymnal, For All That Is Our Life. If you're willing, please stand.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is our we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearless heart that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build the common good, and make our own days glad.
We will now extinguish our chalice. Please read the words in the order of service. We extinguish this flame. For the fire of commitment, these we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing words this morning, it's actually a poem. It's called A Prayer Among Friends, and it was written by John Daniel. Among other wonders of our lives, we are alive. With one another, we live here in the light of this unlikely world that isn't ours for long. May we spend generously the time we are given. May we enact our responsibilities as thoroughly as we enjoy our pleasures. May we see with clarity. May we seek a vision that serves all beings. May we honor the mystery surpassing our sight, and may we hold in our hands the gift of good work, and bear it forth whole, as we were born forth by a power we praise to this one earth, this homeland of all we love. Go in peace, and may your living bless the world. Amen, and blessed be.